Om Shanti. This is the Sakar Murli of the 2nd of October 2023. Essence. Sweet children, everything the Father tells you is new for the new world. He gives you new directions, and this is why his ways and means are remembered as unique. Question: in which aspect does the merciful Father caution all you children in order for you to make your fortune elevated? Answer: Baba says, if you want to make your fortune elevated, do service. If you simply eat and sleep and don't do service, you won't be able to make your fortune elevated. To eat without doing service is wrong. Therefore, Baba cautions you. Everything depends on how you study. You Brahmins have to study and teach others. You have to relate the true Gita. The Father has mercy for you, and this is why he continues to enlighten you about everything. Song. From the day that you and I met, everything has seemed new. Om Shanti. The spiritual Father explains to you, when you children find the unlimited Father, everything he tells you is new, because this Father is the one who establishes the new world. Human beings cannot say such new things. The Father, who is also called Heavenly God the Father, is the unlimited Father who establishes heaven. It is Ravan who establishes hell. There are 5 vices in the female and 5 vices in the male. That is a Ravan community. So these things that Baba has told you about are new, are they not? It is the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, who is called Rama, who creates heaven. It is Ravan who creates hell. People make an effigy of him every year and burn it. Once someone has been burnt, you wouldn't be able to see his effigy form again. That soul goes and takes another body. His features, etc., all change. Here they make a Ravan with the same features every year and then burn it. In fact, just as incorporeal Shiv Baba doesn't have any features, in the same way, Ravan doesn't have any features either. Ravan is the vices. The Father explains what the people on the path of devotion want. God comes to give the fruit of devotion and to give protection, because there is a lot of sorrow in devotion. There is temporary happiness. The lives of the people of Bharat are very unhappy. Someone's child might have died. Someone might have gone bankrupt. Their lives are unhappy. The Father says, I come to make everyone's life happy. The Father comes and tells you new things. He says, I have come to establish heaven. There you will not indulge in vice. That is a viceless kingdom, and this is a vicious kingdom. If you want the kingdom of heaven, then only the Father establishes that. Ravan establishes the kingdom of hell. The Father asks you, will you come to heaven? Will you become the emperors and empresses of paradise, the masters of the world? The masters of the world? These things are not mentioned in the Vedas or scriptures. The Father doesn't tell you to say, Rama, Rama, or to stumble from door to door, or go to the temples and pilgrimage places, or study the Gita and the Bhagavad, etc. No. There are no scriptures in the Golden Age. No matter how many Vedas and scriptures you study, or how many sacrificial fires you hold, or chanting you do, or donations you give, or charity you perform, all of that is simply stumbling. There is no attainment through that. There is no aim or objective on the path of devotion. I have come to make you into the masters of heaven. At this time, all are the residents of hell. If you tell anyone that he is a resident of hell, he would get upset. In fact, you know that the Iron Age is called hell, and that the Golden Age is called heaven. The Father has brought the sovereignty of paradise. He says, if you want to become the masters of heaven, you definitely have to become pure. The main thing is purity. Some people say that they would never be able to remain pure. Oh, but you are made pure so that you can go to heaven. First of all, you have to return to the land of peace, and then go to heaven. You tell those of all religions, you have to renounce your bodies, become bodiless, and then return home. Therefore, you have to break body consciousness. It is a bodily religion when you say, I am a Christian, or I am a Buddhist. Souls reside in the sweet home, so the Father says, will you return to the land of liberation? There you will remain in peace. Tell me, how will you be able to go back? Remember me, your Father, and your sweet home. Renounce all the religions of bodies. This one is a maternal uncle. This one is a paternal uncle. Renounce all of those bodily relations. Consider yourselves to be bodiless souls. Remember me, that's all. This is the only effort. I do not tell you anything else. Renounce all the scriptures, etc., that you have studied. I am giving you new directions for the new world. It is said that God's ways and means are unique. Gati is said to be liberation. The Father tells you new things. When people hear these things, they say that whatever you tell them here are new things. These are not the things of the scriptures. In fact, these are the things of the Gita, but people have falsified the Gita. I have not taken up the Gita, the religious book. That is written later. I speak knowledge to you. No one else would ever say, you are my long lost and now found children. Only the incorporeal Supreme Soul says this. He speaks to you incorporeal souls. You souls listen to him. This body is the organ. No one understands these things. There, human beings speak to human beings, whereas the Supreme Soul sits here and speaks to you souls. We souls listen to him through these ears. You know that the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, sits here and explains to us. People wonder how God would explain. They think that it is God Sri Krishna who speaks. Oh, but Sri Krishna is a bodily being. I am not a bodily being. I am bodiless, and I speak to bodiless souls. So people are amazed when they hear these new things. The children who heard this in the previous cycle like this a lot. They study here and they say, Mama, Baba. There cannot be blind faith here. In a worldly way too, children would call their parents mother and father. You now have to stop remembering those worldly parents and remember the Parlokkic mother and father. This Parlokkic mother and father is the one who teaches you the exchange of nectar. He says, O children, now stop giving and taking poison. Give one another the teachings that I give you, and you will become the masters of heaven. If you listen to even a little, you will go to heaven. However, if you are unable to make others the same as yourselves, you will go and become maids and servants. Maids and servants are number-wise. The maids and servants who look after the children would surely be those with a good status. If, while staying here, you don't study, you become maids and servants. Subjects too are number-wise. Those who study well receive a very high status. The wealthy subjects would have maids and servants. Each one of you has to look at your own face. What am I worthy of becoming? If any of you were to ask Baba, Baba would quickly tell you. The Father knows everything, and he also shows you the evidence for why that is what you will become. Even though someone may have surrendered himself or herself, there is an account in that too. If they have surrendered themselves but don't do service and simply continue to eat and drink, they use up and finish what they gave. They eat away all they gave and don't do service, and they therefore become third-class maids and servants. Yes, if someone does service and eats, that's fine. If someone doesn't do any service, but simply eats, he would use everything up and would then accumulate a burden. Some stay here and eat whatever they gave. Some don't give anything, but they do perform a lot of service, and so they claim a high status. Mama didn't give any wealth, but she attains a very high status because she does Baba's spiritual service. There is an account. Some have the intoxication of giving everything they had to Baba, and that they have surrendered themselves. However, they do eat, do they not? Baba gives you all the examples. If you don't do service, you just eat and continue to eat, you won't be able to accumulate anything, and you will then have to do service. The Father has to tell you everything so that no one can say, "Why didn't you tell us before?" Baba gave everything, and he also continued to do service, and that's why he receives a high status. If you surrender yourself but simply sit and eat away and don't do service, what would you become? Some don't follow Srimat. Baba is especially explaining to you so that at the end no one can ask, "Why is my status like this?" The Father explains, "This will be the consequence cycle after cycle if you do not do service and eat for free." Therefore, Baba continues to caution you. You should understand that your status would be destroyed for cycle after cycle. Baba feels mercy, and this is why he enlightens you about everything. If you don't do service, you won't be able to claim a high status. Those who live at home with their families and do service receive a very high status. Everything depends on your studying and teaching others. You are Brahmins. You have to relate the true Gita. Those people carry a religious book under their arms. You don't carry anything under your arms. You are true Brahmins. You have to relate the truth and enable them to have true attainment. All the rest have made you go into loss. This is why it is written that all of that is false. Baba tells you the truth and makes you into the masters of the land of truth. These matters have to be understood. It is not a small thing to become a master of the world. Those who are sensible children will continue to make plans. We will build such buildings with golden bricks. We will do this. While a child of a wealthy person is growing up, he would have such thoughts as, "I will do this and I will build this." You too are going to become princes in the future, and so you would have the interest. I will build such palaces that no one else would have. Those who study well and teach others would have these thoughts. There will be the sovereignty. So you should have such thoughts in your intellects. With which number will I pass? This is a very big school. Many hundreds of thousands and millions will come here to study. Only the Father sits here and explains all of these things. God is one. He is called the Mother and Father. He comes and adopts you. These are such deep matters. This is a new school, and the one teaching you is new. He explains to you so well. The aprons of those who are worthy will be filled. They will remember the Father. The Mother and Father never forget anyone. So, how can the children of the confluence age forget the Father? Acha. The world is in chaos. whereas you children are in silence. There is peace in silence and happiness in peace. You know that after liberation, there is liberation in life. You children simply have to remember 2 words: Alpha, Allah, and Beta, the sovereignty. By simply remembering one Alpha, you receive the sovereignty. What else remains? There is then just buttermilk left. When you have found Alpha, it means you have found the butter, and all the rest is buttermilk. It is like that, is it not? We stay in silence. You know that you stay in silence and follow Srimat. However, it is a wonder that some children don't remember Alpha fully. They forget him. Maya brings storms. The Father also says, Man above, Madhyaji above. These words are mentioned in the Gita. You should ask those who study the Gita, what is the meaning of man above and Madhyaji above? The Father says, remember me and you will receive the sovereignty. Renounce all bodily religions and become bodiless, and remember the Father, and you will receive the sovereignty. It is also mentioned in the Granth. Chant the name of Alpha, and you will receive the sovereignty. You receive the sovereignty of the land of truth. Compared to the world, you are completely unique. No one else would say this. The Father is telling you new things. All the rest only speak of old things. This is something very easy. Belong to Alpha and you will receive the sovereignty. You still have to make effort. The more service you do to make others the same as yourself, the more fruit you will receive. People neither know Alpha nor Beta. Beta means the butter of the sovereignty. They show butter in the mouth of Sri Krishna. Surely the one who established heaven would have given the sovereignty. Acha. To the sweetest beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the Mother, the Father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence Vedana 1. You have to return to the sweet home. Therefore, forget your bodily religions and relations and consider yourself to be bodiless. Maintain this practice. 2. Give others the teachings that you have received from the Father. Make others the same as yourself. You definitely have to do 8 hours of service. Blessing. May you finish any illness of flu with pure feelings and experience being sustained with blessings and thereby become an embodiment of success. All of you children have received Bap Dada's elevated directions. Children constantly have these pure feelings. I am a most elevated soul, that is, a soul who is one out of multi-millions. I am a deity soul, a great soul, a soul with a special part. Maintain these feelings and you will not have the flu of any wasteful feelings. Impure feelings cannot come where there are these pure feelings. By doing this, you will be saved from any illness of flu, that is, from having to work hard, and will constantly experience yourself to be being sustained with blessings and receiving success in the service that you do. Slogan: to become most elevated being who follows the highest code of conduct at the confluence age is the elevated aim of this Brahmin life. Om Shanti.